Minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, everybody. It's Damian and Dusten of the GetBack podcast here, giving you guys some different content. No podcast this Saturday, unfortunately, due to some scheduling stuff we got going on. But we will have episode 29 out for you next week on Saturday, as always. But we didn't want to leave you hanging with no content, so we had to drop something for you guys. So today I'm going to be giving my Week 6 picks for the NFL season. Just breaking down some of the games and what to really look out for. I think first things first, we should jump right into the Philadelphia New York Giants game. This is a game where the Eagles were looking to bounce back after such a brutal loss to the Broncos, letting Denver score 18 unanswered. You really wondered if this offense was going to get going against a New York Giants team that we really didn't have much of an expectation for. Uh, but boy, were we wrong. Uh, the Giants came out on all cylinders, whether it was passing the ball, running the ball. Defensively, they were stout. Their corners played excellent this game, aside from a couple blown coverages, but that happens from every game. But man, if Philly is such a discombobulated team right now, and I think for them, we hear the word identity a lot. I think they really do need to find their identity. And when they won the Super Bowl, it was let's give the ball to Saquon behind this good O line, which obviously their offensive line is decimated with injuries right now. And let's feed our star wide receivers, which they tried to implement these last 2 weeks, which you've seen a little more of their pass game start to show up, but they've almost completely abandoned the run with Saquon Barkley, uh, who is carrying the ball less than 15 times a game now, which I think, in my opinion, for the Eagles to be successful, that's just unacceptable. And to be quite honest, this rough patch that they're going through will only continue if they don't find ways to get Saquon those big splash plays. But props off to New York. Jackson Dart played a hell of a game. Cam Scatterbo played a phenomenal game as well. 3 touchdowns, over 100 rushing yards. This is a pretty formidable rookie duo that we can see the Giants carry for the next couple of years if they consistently play this way. And with Malik Neighbors, hopefully coming back next season, they have a foundation for a good offense for next year. Moving on, we have Denver and the New York Jets going to London for a game that will be classified as a Jets home game, which is just brutal for an 0-5 team that you basically have one of your home games ripped away from you and have to go to London. Especially against the Denver Broncos, who, listen, the Denver Broncos ceiling, they could win the division. With the strength of schedule and with how injuries are shaping out in the AFC West, the Broncos ceiling can definitely be winning their division, but their floor, they could finish third in that division as well. I mean, they could finish behind the Chargers and Chiefs, which I think that's worst case scenario for Denver. And if that does happen, they do finish third. I think they do miss the playoffs. I just don't see a scenario where 3 AFC West teams go to the playoffs. But nonetheless, I think Denver will always be there. They haven't been decimated with injuries yet, like the Chargers have, which we'll get into in a minute. But I like Denver in this game. I'm going to pick Denver for the sole fact that defense, I think, is just going to give Justin Fields problems. Justin Fields is probably going to be able to use his feet a little bit, get out of some sacks. But I just think throwing the ball, he's going to really struggle against that Denver Broncos secondary, and it's going to cause him to get in trouble. So give me the Denver Broncos by a 2-score, 3-score margin that game. Arizona at Indianapolis. This is a game that I'm really excited to watch, believe it or not, because I think this can be a closer game than what people give it credit for. I'm actually a fan of Arizona this year, even though they've had like a brutal loss last week, obviously with the fumble touchdown whole predicament, and Gannon getting fined $100,000. But I think a loss like that actually might bring this team together. Losing James Conner, you're trying to establish a run game, and they did. And just for the game to get away from them like that, I think really hurt them. But this is a game where I'm going to pick Indianapolis. As you see here, I've picked Indy. just for the sole fact that I think they have more of, I'm going to use this word again, identity. I think they just have more of an offensive identity uh, with Jonathan Taylor. They set up the pass really nicely for Daniel Jones, and I think the key is keeping Daniel Jones comfortable. Once Daniel Jones is put outside of his comfort zone of his check downs, slants, hitch routes, stuff like that, I think it then becomes more difficult for him to throw the ball. Uh, Obviously, and I think for the Colts, we see Mitchell, the wide receiver Mitchell, who lost them, uh, who lost them a game basically. That's the only problem that I see with Indianapolis is just some of the miscues. I think their defense is pretty good. Um, but nonetheless, their offense is spectacular. I think they've punted the ball the least amount of times this year, and I believe for the first 3 weeks they didn't punt the ball at all, which is super impressive. So give me Indianapolis in a rather close game in my opinion. Moving on, we have Cleveland and Pittsburgh. No need to stay on this game for super long. I know Ayden Jones would be kind of upset, but I'm not gonna stick on this game for too long. I think Pittsburgh gets the win by a healthy margin. I do think it's gonna be a low-scoring game just because Cleveland does have a good defense. They did trade away Greg Newsome, which I did think was an interesting trade, and Newsome did get burnt against Justin Jefferson, but that's one of the best receivers in football. And they did acquire Tyson Campbell in that trade, but I just, to me, it's just the same player, different font. I think both of them can be good corners in this league. They're both good in man. I think just both of their technique can be flawed sometimes, which is the reason why they're able to get yardage on, I suppose. But give me Pittsburgh. I just like their passing game. I think their defense will shut down whatever Cleveland has going on with Dylan Gabriel, who, in my opinion, only threw checkdowns in his first start, which I totally understand, but I think it's going to be a similar game plan for Cleveland there, so give me Pittsburgh. Moving on, we have Dallas at Carolina. This is actually a game that might be closer than what people think, just because Dallas's defense is so inconsistent, and Rico Dowdle, who rushed for 203 yards last game, played phenomenal. I think they're going to really use him as a workhorse in this game with no Chuba Hubbard. But then again, that Dallas offense will always prevail. First in the NFL in yards, Dak Prescott is playing with a fearlessness that we really haven't seen him play with, especially without his wide receiver one. To have George Pickens, Javonte Williams has resurged his career in Dallas. Give me Dallas just by offensive overtake, I suppose. I just think that their offense is just going to overtake Carolina's defense. No matter how many points Carolina is able to put up, Dallas will match it and then some. Moving on to the Los Angeles Rams and the Baltimore Ravens. This Baltimore Ravens defense has been absolutely abysmal. We haven't seen such a disappointing team, and I honestly can't remember a more disappointing team since this Baltimore Ravens team. They're sitting at 1-4 right now. No Lamar Jackson for the second week, and their defense is dead last in the NFL. I just whether it's just the injuries, the inconsistencies of cornerbacks like Marlon Humphreys, Kyle Hamilton, just their tackling is so poor. And against a high potent offense like Los Angeles that's so versatile with the pass and the run, and with Los Angeles now establishing a second running back like in Blake Corum, who's able to get those burst runs, I just think it's going to be really hard for Baltimore to make any progressions on both offense or defense. And I think it's going to be a beatdown from start to finish. So give me the Los Angeles Rams in a 2 to 3 score game potentially. And to be quite honest, with the last game that the Ravens played, this game could get out of hand very quickly. Moving on to the next Los Angeles game, we have the Los Angeles Chargers at the Miami Dolphins. This is my upset of the week. I truly believe in my heart of hearts that the Miami Dolphins are going to take this game. And I know they're at home, but they're going to take this game. We're sitting at a 1-4 record here. The Los Angeles Chargers have been absolutely obliterated with injuries on the offensive line. Whether it was Rashad Slater in the beginning of the year to now Joe Alt, They've just lost so many key players on that offensive line and in the running back room. Now losing Amari and Hampton and Najee Harris, which was earlier in the season. It's going to be hard for the Chargers to establish a run game, which is just so important for setting up that play action pass that Justin Herbert's so good at. It's almost going to be predictable because the recipe for success for the Los Angeles Chargers now is Justin Herbert throwing 300 plus yards with 3 touchdowns, because they're going to have to put up more than 21 points to win a football game. And he can do that. He can absolutely do that on any given day, night. But I do believe in Miami. Miami's desperate for a win right now. I think they take this game from the Chargers, and it's going to be my upset of the week. Moving on next, we have the New England Patriots at the New Orleans Saints. This is another game I'm actually not going to waste too much of my breath on. I have the New England Patriots taking this game. I can't really tell you what the score is going to be because, man, that New Orleans offense is streaky. We saw Rattler get that huge bomb to Rashid Shaheed, which was, by the way, a beautiful pass by Spencer Rattler. And that's what we wanted to see from him. That's what we saw from him in college, and that's the potential that he really has. He can be a great starting quarterback in this league. I just think it's truly going to take some more time than the other rookie quarterbacks that we saw come out of last year's rookie class. And on the other side, speaking of the quarterback draft class from last year, Drake May, who had a pretty good game against the Buffalo Bills, but nonetheless, he's been streaky as well this year. I just think he has more talent around him, as well as he's less erratic on the offensive side of the ball. I think he's a lot more calm than Rattler is, which just gives him the edge, and I think it just gives New England the edge in general. New England's definitely building a good foundation. I like their defense sometimes, but I do like how their offense is starting to progress a little bit. So give me New England in this game by a sizable margin. Moving on, we have a great game in the Seattle Seahawks at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars coming off of a major win on Monday night against the Kansas City Chiefs. This could almost be considered, in my opinion, it wasn't, because I called this last week. The Jacksonville Jaguars could win their division. Any slip up from Indianapolis, it's the Jacksonville's for the taking. But they are going up against, in my opinion, the best defense that they've played all year in Seattle. And here's the thing about Seattle. Seattle's going to get turnovers. They're going to get to the quarterback, and they will stop the run. The most important factor in this game for Jacksonville is establishing yourself on offense. You can't get in these third and long situations because you're just putting Trevor Lawrence in this big hole that he can climb out of, but it's just not an ideal situation to put your quarterback in. Another player that I'm really going to watch for, though, is Brian Thomas Jr. Obviously, he had one of his better games, which was 50-plus yards last game. We're going to need to see an emergence from him. If we can see an emergence from him, that unlocks this Jacksonville offense completely, and then we're talking about a team that can potentially just run their division. On the Seattle side of it, Sam Darnold, in my opinion, has been playing good this year. Listen, he's a quarterback that he's making few mistakes. He's getting it to a star receiver. Their run game's progressed well. But man, the defense is really why they have a record above 500. They have the highest scoring defense in the NFL, just behind the Minnesota Vikings. And I just think, man, this is a really hard pick for me to do. I'm going to pick Seattle just for the sole fact that defense is much better than Jacksonville's defense. And this could potentially be a barn burner. We're talking maybe, 17-13. It could definitely be a close game at the end, but I just like Seattle. Moving on, we have a horrendous game in both 1-4 teams. The Tennessee Titans at the Las Vegas Raiders. This is just a horrible game. Let's be honest. If you're not a Tennessee Titan fan or a Las Vegas Raider fan, and you just willingly choose to watch this game, I have no idea what you're doing. Just put on a movie, as there's better things to watch out there. And for those reasons, I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick the Raiders just for the sole fact that I believe they have more offensive weapons on the side with Genty, who's starting to get going. Geno has been abysmal this year, but at the end of the day, he is willing to take more risk than Cam Ward has, and that's just with Cam Ward being a rookie. He'll get there eventually, but I just see Vegas winning this game, especially at home. No Brock Bowers, which is going to hurt them, in my opinion, even though Geno hasn't really been giving him the ball that much. But nonetheless, I like the Raiders in this game, and yeah, give me the Raiders going 2-4. And as we reach the latter stretch, latter stretch of these games, we move on to the 4:25 games. We have the Cincinnati Bengals at Green Bay. Cincinnati is a new quarterback in the building, Joe Flacco, at age 40. He is stepping into a even worse offensive line that he had in Cleveland, just to get absolutely crushed by Micah Parsons. I think to my fantasy owners out there of T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, I think you do benefit from this. I think Joe Flacco is just a much more knowledgeable quarterback in the sense that he understands that he has to get the football to his star wide receivers in order to have any type of success. So if you have T. Higgins or Jamar Chase and you are kind of tentative about playing them because of Jake Browning, no need to fear. Joe Flacco's here. But that will not contribute to winning. I just believe that Cincinnati's defense isn't that good. Chase Brown has been a huge letdown, which is another reason why the offensive line, if you can't establish a run game, it's going to be hard for your offensive line to even pass protect because the defense can already predict what you're going to do. So give me Green Bay and give me a Micah Parsons 2-sack game here. I really like his chances having a 2-sack game. Moving on, another great game, San Francisco 49ers at Tampa Bay. Both 4-1 teams just duking it out in the NFC. This has potential to be a great game. Mac Jones, I've been super impressed with. Obviously, the game against the Rams, he played fantastic. And he showed flashes of this in New England. And I think now that he has just an offensive mastermind in Kyle Shanahan calling the plays, taking the shots, he really has put Mac Jones in a great situation to succeed. Now, he is going to be playing a defensive mastermind in Todd Bowles, and I will say this is going to be a major X and O game. This is going to genuinely come down to coaching. And I usually don't say that because obviously talent outweighs the coaching in my opinion. But this game really will come down to coaching. Who is going to dial up more on defense? Is it going to be Saleh or Bowles? And it's also going to come down to Baker Mayfield feeding his receiver. Obviously, Bucky Irving may not play due to injury, which is also going to help favor the 49ers a little more. They still have Rashid White, who is a good number 2 running back. We're just going to have to see what happens there. For those reasons, even though I have leaned towards San Francisco my entire time talking, I'm still going to take Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers simply because they're at home. And I think they're just kind of riding a hot streak now. I think they're playing really good football. Now, the Sunday night game that everybody is extremely excited for, we have the Detroit Lions at the Kansas City Chiefs in a game that is a must-win for Kansas City. If Kansas City blows this game, and we say blow it even though they're playing a 4-1 Detroit Lions team that is just on fire right now, if they blow it and lose, and they are 1.5-point favorites, which is ridiculous in my opinion, I really believe it's going to be hard for them to win their division. If they can win this game, I'll almost pick them to win the division. If not, there is a very, very high chance that they finish 3rd or 2nd in the division. I just think the way that with Denver's schedule right now, if the Chargers can sneak out a win against this Miami team that I said was going to win, it just makes it an uphill battle for Kansas City, especially with the loss to Detroit. This is a team that it's a statement win. If you're able to beat this Detroit Lions team, you're establishing yourself right back in the mix as one of the top dogs in the NFL. And just a loss here would be just so detrimental. Uh, Obviously, they get Rashid Rice back the following week, which could spice things up a little bit. But then again, we still haven't even seen him from injury yet. So it's people are saying this is a pick'em game. I really don't believe so. I just think Detroit, they're going to have the answers offensively. I think Detroit's defense may struggle against Mahomes' wittiness on offense. But give me Detroit they're going to establish the run with Gibbs and Montgomery. They're going to give it to Amon-Ra. Jared Goff's been playing sound this year. I just like Detroit's chances. Give me Detroit. And we have a Monday night doubleheader to end off Week 6. We have the Buffalo Bills at the Atlanta Falcons. This is a game where I think Buffalo is going to come out and try to dominate from the jump, just after losing such a upsetting loss, really, to New England in a game that I think we all picked Buffalo to win. I think Buffalo really asserts himself offensively, and on the defensive side of the ball, I just don't think Michael Penix is going to be able to do much. If they do have any success against Buffalo, it's simply going to be because of the fact that Bijan Robinson has a huge game. We're talking over 150 all-purpose yards. If he does do that, then this could be a close game, and it could be a Monday night classic. And even though I said that's all very hypothetical in my opinion, I do like the Buffalo Bills. I'm picking them by over 2 scores. Give me Buffalo. And to close it out, Chicago Bears at the Washington Commanders. Now this has potential to be a Monday night classic. Chicago, who's, starting to get hot. The Commanders team, who you get Jaden Daniels back and you win against the Chargers. And this is a Hail Mary rematch. For those who don't remember the Chicago-Washington game last year, it ended in a Jaden Daniels Hail Mary attempt that was blessed by Noah Brown. And this could be a close game. I think both offenses they have smart coordinators running the offense. Obviously, Cliff Kingsbury's running the Washington Commanders offense, and we know Ben Johnson and his wit that he had with Detroit, now in Chicago with Caleb Williams. This is a tough game for me to pick on. I think Chicago almost has that chip on their shoulder from last year, but the Commanders are almost even keel with this game, and I think they're just going to come out level-headed and just have a win mindset. So, this might be one of my harder picks, believe it or not. Wow. I'm going to pick... This is an upset. I'm going to pick the Chicago Bears beating Washington. Just a little upset special. So we have Denver, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, Dallas, Rams, Miami, New England, Seattle, Vegas, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Detroit, Buffalo, and Chicago all taking wins Week 6. We will be back to discuss this on episode 29 of the GetBack podcast. Hopefully I'm right. If not, SYBAU, because I think these are pretty solid picks. Nonetheless, if I had to say there was a game that I'm most scared about, and about my decision, it would probably be the Indianapolis-Arizona game. That could be a flip. I think the San Francisco game could be a flip as well. And then lastly, the Washington-Chicago game. But beyond that, I'm pretty happy with these picks. I just don't see anything really shocking happening except the Chargers-Miami game. I'm Damian Dusten of the Get Back podcast. Peace out.